Why are you sick?
Why am I sick?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean right now or no? Why am I sick? Yes. Internal and external blame.
Yeah. Sometimes there are reasons why we're ill. And the obvious things, like if you were a smoker and you have lung cancer, there's a direct connection to something that you did and something that happened to you. Sometimes it's a little bit more complicated than that, where people will think that there may be some divine retribution for behavior. And so that sometimes comes up in the context of dealing with someone at the end of life, is that they'll bring up something that they've done in the past, and that they will link it to some punishment that they're going to experience with their illness. We talk about
well, there we get back to guilt and shame, Michael. That's which is what we were discussing a little bit earlier. What kind of guilt and shame are you walking around with?
And that is not easy to deal with, and sometimes people don't deal with that. It's not something that people see as a priority. It often is something that is very uncomfortable, and depending on where they are in their station of life, they may choose to never deal with it.
Yes. And it may not directly have an effect on them at that particular time, but for those patients who it does have an effect on, who you realize is driving behaviors and that's really not appropriate for what they're going through, you need to address it. You need to talk about it. Find somebody to talk about.
I really always try to find out if there is some issue that is come up now from their past, because sometimes it's something that they can share with me. They can share with a spiritual guide, somebody so that it gets out of their head and they can deal with it. Because sometimes it's very important to deal with that stuff, to just get it out of the way so you can focus on the task at hand. Because dealing with this chapter of your life is going to take a lot of energy, and if you're distracted by things from the past, it's going to affect how you deal with things in the future.
Right. So you have mind-body interaction, and scientists and gurus have been talking about this for hundreds, if not thousands of years. How does the body and the mind interact, and who's in control? But let me tell you something. At the end, the body's in control.
Yes.
Not the mind. You can wish away whatever you want to. It's not going to happen. The body is diseased. The disease will drive the body. And there's no getting away from it or around it.
No.
You cannot pray it away, wish it away, take vitamins to make it all better. It's beyond that. End stage patients. It's gone. So, any more you want to say on that?
Nope, I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. Message 6. You can't fool the body, which is what I did the introduction for just a few seconds ago. What is your body saying? Are you vomiting every day? Are you losing your hair? Are you having skin disorders? What is your body telling you?
Sometimes people, you don't pay attention to this process because it may not necessarily seem to be terribly important to tell somebody about it. But the reality is that there are things that will change over the course of time. And so that you begin to notice those things and either share them or not share them. But the reality is that your body tells you an awful lot. I'll give you a small example. I have, for the last year, been dealing with some visual problems in this eye. And it's stuff that's causing it to be very difficult to see out of this eye. It's very distracting. But I actually went ahead and went to the doctors and had them check it all out and had some testing done and things like that. And there's not anything I can do about it unless it gets worse. Well, I've got to pay attention to that. So because if it gets worse, I don't want to go blind. And so that's something that my body's telling me. And what it told me is that I'm getting old. and I didn't like that. For some reason, that was just not very good.
No.
So
So you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Because, you can be walking around and you're seeing something in the mirror that other people aren't necessarily seeing. You've lost 50 pounds. You've gone bald. You've got skin sores all over you, and you're seeing this old, healthy, happy person. And that's not very realistic. That's truly delusional.
Yeah.
And not being prepared for those changes can make it truly, truly heartbreaking. So, what are you telling the body? What are you telling the body?
If you don't honor it, it will not honor you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't listen, it will get louder.
That's right.
The issues that you'll deal with will be much more difficult as time progresses, and if you don't deal with it, it will force you to deal with it at some point in time.
I was thinking of the woman in the shower who finds the lump in her breast, okay? Who puts off and gives every excuse in the world, and that lump is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and finally it becomes so painful, she's having difficulty wearing clothes. She's having difficulty being touched or moving around. So it forces her finally to go in and get it looked at. Generally, by that time, it's a little too late, just a smidge too late.
Yeah.
She is now going to have maybe some radical surgery and definitely some kind of chemo and radiation therapy, which is going to layer on her back and her butt and make her sick as a dog. So pay attention. The body will tell you when it's in trouble. It will scream at you and yell at you to pay attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, obviously people who are reading this book or who are participating in the course as it is are already dealing with something. But it's very important to communicate how you're feeling physically and the things that you see on a regular basis to your physician and maybe to the nurse practitioner, to your family member, somebody, so that basically they know something's different. There's something that needs to be attended to. You have to be able to pass that information on because you're the one experiencing this.
Right.
I'm not experiencing unless I see it on you. The reality is that you have information that we need. And if you give us that information, we have a better opportunity to provide the care that you need and meet your needs.
Yeah, you need to share. That's the bottom line. Because somebody will say to you, if you have good communication with another person, whether it's your mate or best friend or whatever, even your adult children, you don't look too good. What's going on with you?
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention. I don't look good? Oh, I guess I don't.
Yeah.
Because you see the light bulb has gone off and all of a sudden when you look in the mirror, you're starting to see what they see.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ignore it. Don't just, oh, you're mistaken. I'm just having a bad day.
Yeah.
That's not good for anybody. Because the person that has said that to you now is being told, oh, I can't bring that up. I can't talk about that. So you cut that person off, and that person is going to be critical. And you don't want to do things to insult them and drive them away. Tell them you love them. Tell them you're thankful. Tell them you're grateful for their being here. It'll go a long, long way. Okay, one of the things that we were discussing in group is the changes that occur that drives decisions, Michael, that can make for bad decisions, like the gentleman who lost so much weight that he could no longer climb the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
The woman who realizes that she can't stand up in the shower anymore and somebody's going to have to hold her. Not allowing people into your home, not allowing people, the appropriate medical people into your life becomes a burden to the people who love you and who are trying to take care of you. So that woman, that 55-year-old woman who's got to be held up in the shower, has a son that will have to get in there with her. And the embarrassment in something like that can be horrific for both of them. So, when things start happening, be sensible enough to allow the staff, the appropriate medical intervention that you need to come into your life. It'll save a lot.
Absolutely. I think that's a very good point to make. A lot of times people don't say something for fear that it's just going to be a difficult conversation, so they'd rather not have it.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody has to have it
Yeah.
before there's a tragedy, before you fall down a flight of stairs, before you make a bad decision to stay in your home when you should go into a facility, even if you find out whether or not it's temporary or permanent. But allow yourself to be realistic about your situation, and it's hard to do, folks. We have heard, I don't know how many, I want to die at home. I'm going to stay in my own home. Well, they don't understand the complications
Right.
of that. And we need to be able to, so that you listen to us, understand that it's extremely complicated and expensive. That the kinds of things you have to set up and put in place can be overwhelming and financially destructive, and if you don't have the resources and the wherewithal, you're going to end up being taken out of your house in the middle of the night because nobody can care for you.